evening, everybody. Once upon a time. Wait, should all fancy stories and fictions always start with the phrase once upon a time? No, some of them can start with if I am elected. So, once politician A invited politician B to his new house, and B was astounded and asked A, how you built such a big house? A took B to the window and asked, do you see a bridge over there? Yes, I do. I built this house out of the bribe that I earned in constructing the bridge. A year later, B invited A to his new house. And A was dumbfounded twice the times that B was, because he found a house bigger than his own house. He asked B how he built such a big house. Now B invited A to his window and asked, do you find a bridge over there? No, said A. I built this out of the total money that was my Thinking of how to eradicate such politicians in our country, I, along with my 5 friends, was sitting in the last bench of my classroom. The teacher was doing her job and we were continuously nodding our heads for the mild music of my friend's mobile phone. Apart from the last row, all the other rows were found empty because my outstanding classmates had boiled an omelette in the overhead projector of the classroom the day before and had been sent out of the classroom with due respect as usual. But this day was not usual. Tension was prevailing everywhere. Those who were sitting inside the classroom were sitting on the corners of the seats, and those who were standing outside were standing on the toes. The people outside wanted to grab our attention. They were waving their hands, nodding their heads, tapping their feet. But we had our heads straight. We did not want to answer them. Not a degree did we tilt our heads. We stayed deaf to all their attempts to grab our notice. Amidst all these chaos, the staff in the front was knocking her brain over something that she was trying to recollect or remember. She was having some perplexity in her mind. Having given this introductory scene, now let me take you all to the flashback. A week ago, smelling the invitation of a cultural competition, we entered into a cultural in-charge's room where we and trespassers were always strictly prohibited because we had a habit of losing cultural competitions in the narrow margin of 200 or 300 pounds. So she was nodding a strict no for all her requests to join in the competition. But finally, we melted her heart when Karthik shed 2 or 3 drops of tears. Finally, she said yes. And we came out of the room, wiping out the glycerin, rolling up our sleeves, and stretching out our collars. We had our heads high to all our classmates. Flossy, nosy, nihilipilification was showered in our gestures. Karthik even ordered one of our classmates for a cup of tea. They were all turning red hot in anger, and they were trying to get a chance to pounce on us and curb us. We very well understood that we were going to face a verbal World War III if we did not win the competition. Anyway, keep all these things apart. 6 days and 7 nights of tough and hard practice. The final day came. We were in the cultural meet. Now, come on guys, let us recollect what we practiced. I said, shh, secret, come close. First, we are drawing a cardboard box of size 21 inches cross 21 inches to the center stage. Suddenly, Karthik should come out of it and reveal himself to the stage, rendering a bowing salute. This is trick number 1. Second trick, Lionel should carry 4 people and spin in the center stage. Venkatesh should jump over his hip from the left, Satya should jump over his hip from behind, Hari should jump over his hip from the front, and finally Karthik should jump over his hip from the right. And I decided to take the toughest job in this competition of announcing that Lionel was carrying 400 kgs of weight around his body. And then the final trick. Karthik was very good in lighting and swallowing burning camphors. So as the third part of the trick, Karthik should light and swallow camphors one by one. So we are all set. We are ready for the show. And the announcement for anyone to start first came. Karthik immediately said, come on guys, let us start. We also got reminded of the famous proverb, the early bird catches the worm. But we forgot to realize that it applies only for birds. In the case of mice, the first mouse gets trapped and only the second mouse gets the cheese. So, we were now ready. The operators were not ready. They were still rehearsing with their focus lights and the music system. But we were ready for the competition. Suddenly a fast and hasty music started and we started pulling the cardboard box to the center stage. The operator immediately shouted, oh boy, this is the sound of the tape getting recorded for your music. Get back. We went back again. And we again pulled the cardboard box to the center stage. And as planned, I said, here we introduce Karthik. Here we introduce Karthik. Here we introduce Karthik. Oh boy, this dumb little fellow has got stuck up inside the cardboard box. And we tried not to tear one side of the cardboard box. And finally he stood up, revealing his back to the audience. A hard kick on his back made him turn towards the audience again and render a voice salute. Trick number 1 failed very miserably. Not a tint of hope did we lose. Lionel came to the center stage. Venkatesh came and jumped over his hip from the left. Hari came and jumped over his hip from the front. And And Satya came and jumped over his hip from behind. Before Karthik could jump over his hip, I announced out of excitement, this person is spinning with 400 kgs around his body. Just a moment did I turn back to see all the 5 plummeted and fallen down on the ground. The final person had not jumped over his hip but on his legs. And then, 2 tricks failed. Come on, boss. Don't fear, I said. Finally, Karthik, I said, this person is going to light and swallow campfires one by one. 1, 2, 3. Only after saying this, I realized that this much time the focus light had been focusing me and not Karthik. And finally, they turned the focus lights over here. He had already swallowed all those cameras. And not knowing what to do, the fellow just blew the candle off and said, happy birthday. Now, my dear friends, you would have understood why I would have been turning deaf to all the requests of my friends to grab our notice. We did not want to see them. If they had seen us, just a flash of sight would reveal the reprehensible and embarrassing moment that we would have had in the meet. So we were still having our heads straight without turning to the request of our friends. And this time came the tragedy of the tale. The teacher who had been mocking her head continuously to remember or recollect something suddenly brightened. She had got reminded of the thing that she had been thinking a long time for. She just saw us, those who had not completed the assignments, get out of the class. And there came the tragedy of the tale. Let me sign off. Thank you.